I might have a battle with this microphone. So my voice is loud, and if it gets too close, it starts to crackle. But guys, it's so awesome to be here, especially after, a year and a half of no in-person events. And I hope you see that this is my favorite professional thing to do in my life. So I'm gonna get emotional, that it happens every time. And that's because I hid myself away for so long and for so many years. So for 43 years, I tried to play this tough guy, and I tried to be the face of strength and the face of courage. But really what was happening is inside I was just a marshmallow that felt defenseless, and I was scared, and I didn't want anybody to know that. So I put on this outward brave persona because I was hiding this little kid that was scared inside, and I refuse to do that anymore. So when the emotion comes up, guys, it's gonna happen, all right? So we are all human beings with fear, with doubt, with levels of inadequacy, with levels of insecurity, and to pretend that you're not is doing yourself and doing society a great injustice, all right? So Tom talked about the sponsors of MML. So I want to talk about my sponsors, all right? And I want to talk about why I'm here. First of all, Tom Swip and I met in 2014 when I started attending MML, and I've seen this group grow from something small to something, magnificent. And Tom, we've sat down, we've had breakfast. There's not a better heart-based servant, heart-based leader in the world than Tom. So it's a pleasure and honor just to be here in front of you, in front of this group, Tom, because of you. Jason, thanks for putting all this together. Jason's been instrumental in helping us make sure that this thing is seamless. My wife, Angie, is right here in the crowd, and you're gonna hear a little bit about Angie. She loves the spotlight, so if you could stand up real quick. So without my wife, Angie, 0% chance I'm here. And I mean that I would have taken my life if it wasn't for her. All right? So, and lastly, guys, there's a guy in the back, and he has no idea I'm doing this, but his name's Keith Vollmer. Keith, wave your hand, stand up, something. So, guys, everybody needs that friend, that ally, that confidant. Everybody needs that person to just be shamelessly vulnerable and transparent with, and Keith's that for me, and I love you, brother. I love you so much. Today I want to talk about having and creating in your life wealth, success, and happiness. Now, I love wealth, I love success, and I love being happy. But for 43 years, I was looking for wealth and success, but I didn't really care about that happiness thing. And ultimately what happened was I put a barrel of a gun in my mouth because I had wealth, I had success, the definition of success, but I couldn't feel it. It was there in my life. I had a nice house, and we had cars. I had a wife and 2 kids. We were on, my 11-year-old had been on vacation out of the country 8 times. We had the life of our dreams. We had net worth. We had all this good stuff going on, but I was miserable. And I ascended the ladder of corporate, and you'll hear a little bit about that. I ascended the ladder, and I was gonna keep taking steps on the rung, and ultimately I was so far out of alignment with who I was and who I wanted to be and where I wanted to be that it all fell apart. And in 20 months, I got fired from 2 executive level positions in Fortune 500 companies, and I had to figure out, I don't have anything figured out. And that's when I got the opportunity to hit the reset, and that's when I started attending cool sessions like this, what am I missing? All these people are successful, and I thought everybody was happy. What am I missing? And that's when I kind of started to figure out what life was and what it wasn't, and what I knew was real and what I didn't know was real. So today I want to talk about wealth, success, and happiness. But first I want to ask, can somebody give me a definition, your definition of what wealth means? Anybody?
Have enough money to do what you want to do without having the pressure to worry about it.
Love it. Tom always comes through. He always comes through. When I connect wealth, it has nothing to do with an amount. It's never about an amount. It's about knowing that you have what you need when you need it. And the most important part is not worrying about it, right? Guys, I work with multi-millionaires. I work with people that have 8, sometimes 9-figure businesses, and they feel absolutely broke, okay? They have high net worth. They're incredibly valuable from a financial perspective, but inside they feel broke. That means they are broke. It's not about a quantity and it's not about an amount. So how about success? Tom, you're not allowed to answer. You're too good. Somebody, success. What does success mean to you? Anybody?
Happy, healthy, and reasonably prosperous.
Happy, healthy, and reasonably prosperous. I think Tom was better with his answer. I know Eric, so I'm allowed to say that. Guys, I'm going to offer my definition of success. It's doing what I'm passionate about, not what I don't want to do. If I'm doing what I don't want to do to attain some achievement, that's not success, that's sacrifice. They're much different. So lastly, happiness. Can somebody offer me your definition of happiness? Anybody? Tom, you are allowed to answer if nobody else does.
I want Don Gunther to answer. I'm putting him up. Don's the happiest guy I know.
Well, I just think it's being satisfied with where you're at and not wanting for things.
Yeah, I love that. And I align with that a lot. It's doing what I want when I want, saying yes when I want to say yes, and saying no when I want to say no, and enjoying the entire journey. So guys, I've helped a lot of people make a lot of money in corporate and outside of corporate. I've helped a lot of people create what looks like success inside and outside of corporate. But now my favorite thing to do is help people create happiness. And I'm outside of corporate, and you'll hear more about that. All right? So that's what we're going to do. And you can't see it, Jason. It's off the screen. I'm not. It's winding off the screen a little bit. But one of my favorite quotes, guys, by a fella named Dr. Wayne Dyer. He said, "When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change." And here's what that means. By the way, I'm not great with time, so I'm going to keep looking at the clock. Here's what that means. It means we are a product of our beliefs, our experiences, our choices, and what you see in the world right now is a reflection of what you think life is. And two people could have a completely different take on the same exact situation, and it's called an opinion or a perspective. But what it really is, it's about the belief that someone holds about that thing they're looking at. So let me give you an example. I was taught, I was the son of a 40-year union steelworker, and I was taught that making money is hard. I was taught that you have to work hard for your money, and I was taught and shown that marriage is hard. And in the absence of those experiences, those beliefs in the world, I made them true when they weren't true. Because I believed that making money needed to be hard. I believed that you had to work hard for your money. And I believed that if marriage wasn't hard, it wasn't right. There was something wrong. So we are a product of our beliefs. But when you change your belief about something, the experience that you have with that thing will change. It will. 100%. When I decided to change the belief that making money was hard to making money is easy, I found more opportunities than I could even count where making money was easy. And in fact, I realized that in my corporate career, when money came easily, I figured out a way to make myself sacrifice more to justify that money. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. You right now in this room, think about your level of health, your level of wealth, your level of success, your level of love that you give and receive. They're a product of what you believe. But if you change the way you believe, you'll see that the outcomes will change as well. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. If you suspend your beliefs just for another 40 minutes, and maybe there'll be one nugget that'll change your life, okay? So when I thought I had it all figured out, I put a barrel of a gun in my mouth. That's when I realized I knew nothing about nothing, right? So there's 5 relationships that we're going to go through today, all right? And a relationship is literally just about how you relate with something. It's not just about a human being. It's how you relate with something, anything. But we're going to go through five relationships. Relationship with yourself, relationship with others, relationship with your career, relationship with money, and your relationship with life. Now, if there's any questions that you guys can't wait for the end, please ask. Love the interaction, all right? So first of all, your relationship with yourself. By far and away, guys, this is the most important. If you don't get this one right, the rest are going to be really, really difficult, all right? When I was physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually abusive to myself, nothing else stood a chance. When I didn't care for myself, and when I hated myself, and when I couldn't stand being in silence and stillness with myself, I could find joy in nothing else. Your relationship with yourself, you've got to be with yourself all the time. And think about this. We all have this little voice in our head, right? We all have this little person that's running around, that seems like they're running around in your head and bouncing around. And if you wouldn't allow that person to sit next to you on the couch and hang out with you and watch football and drink beer and eat pizza, if you wouldn't allow that person to sit next to you, then why do you allow them to stay in your head? You are not your thoughts, you have thoughts. You don't think. Thoughts create themselves. Sometimes they just come, right? They just pop in. But you can change that inner voice, because that inner voice is a product of your beliefs, your experiences, and we'll talk about that a little bit. So the word that I want you to connect with inside of the relationship with yourself is shame. Now, guys, we don't like this word a whole lot, but I want you to suspend belief or disbelief about what you think about shame. Shame, in a nutshell, and Brene Brown talks about this a lot, it's the feeling of inadequacy, of insignificance. It's the feeling, it's anytime that voice tells you I can't. It's that experience that you have where you say it's available to somebody else, but it's not available to me. It's the I can't, what if I fail? This is all shame. What this is telling you is that somewhere inside of your body and your mind, your emotions, there's this disconnect, and you feel like you are fundamentally flawed in some way. Shame is the feeling of being fundamentally flawed. So what if I fail? What if I can't handle it? What if they judge me? What will they think about me? That's shame. That's all it is. It's the fact that you don't trust yourself. You don't believe in yourself. You don't love yourself. You don't admire yourself. You don't just love being with yourself. And you need something else. Guys, this is all shame talking, all right? So when you relate with yourself, like I work with people that have 8-figure net incomes, but they can't stand themselves. They can't stand to sit in a chair without distraction, without some connection to the outside world to distract them from that person that's in their head that they can't stand, or those voices that are telling them that they're not enough and they need to prove something to someone else. Money doesn't take that away, neither does success. But when you understand that that's your feeling of being fundamentally flawed, you get to reshape that and you get to shift that. And when you do, everything else gets better. This was me, right? 5 years ago. This journey for me started in March of 2016 is when I had my second termination. I put a gun in my mouth, and on April 1st, I decided, on April 1st, 2016, April Fool's Day, everything shifted, because this is when I literally started the resolution of this mind and these emotions and what was this chatter that was going on that was telling me that I wasn't good enough, or that I didn't deserve it, or that I couldn't. And as that shifted, everything else shifted. Income went up, our relationship improved. I stopped being a physically, mentally, and emotionally abusive husband and father, because when you don't like yourself and when you don't love yourself, you can't love anything else. But shame will keep you stuck. If you feel fundamentally flawed, you're not. It's just an internal disconnect. I was also told from my very, very early years that I talked too much, that I talked too loud, that I was too intense, that I was too direct. And you know what? They're all the greatest gifts that God ever gave me. And when you feel like you have to shift yourself to fit in or to be somebody who you're not, to be accepted, that's the face of shame. Because the things that people tell you where you're too much, that's where you're not enough. Just keep going. Be more of that. Whatever somebody tells you you're too much of, that's your greatest gift, right? I make a lot of money in my coaching business because of me talking a lot, being loud, being intense, being direct. That's the face of prosperity, all right? Resolving shame increases everything. And I'm talking about health, wealth, love, the power of your relationships. When you resolve shame, everything grows. Everything expands in your life. Because you're only as powerful as the shame that you're holding, all right? You're only as powerful as the secret you're holding. And secrets, they're a reflection of shame. The second, and I'm a little behind, the second is your relationship with others. Now, I'm going to put this in a pretty broad stroke, okay? So we're going to talk about relationship with others in general, how you relate with other human beings. The acronym that I want you to connect with is LOVE, right? If you're going to write one thing down today, guys, write this down. LOVE stands for letting others voluntarily evolve. It means stop being a judgmental ass. Letting others voluntarily evolve. Now, I don't care if you're talking about your beautiful wife or your kids or your friends or your clients. You don't need them to be different than who they are so that you can feel good about yourself. And if you need somebody to be different to make you comfortable, you're the problem. They're not. Everybody is completely unique in this world. There are 7.88 billion people. We all have different experiences. We all have different beliefs. We all have different perspectives. We've all had different challenges and obstacles. My wife was born to 2 heroin-addicted parents and was homeless most of her life. Of course she's scared. And for me to tell her she's not allowed to be scared, that's me breaking her further. Of course she's going to be scared. But I tried to get her to be somebody she wasn't so I could feel good. You're not allowed to be scared because I can't handle that. That's essentially what judgment is I'm going to make you wrong so I can feel right. Love is letting others voluntarily evolve. These were 2 people that were physically, she just teared up and so did I. These are 2 people that were physically, mentally, emotionally, and sometimes sexually abusive to each other. These are 2 people that really, all we were looking for was our next beer, sometimes the next pill, sometimes the next vacation. We didn't care what else we were doing in life. We thought we had it all figured out because we had money and we had success and titles. We had the picture perfect life, but inside everything was getting torn down because we couldn't beat the crap out of each other enough. And if you look at your traditional, Tom, this room is different. But if you look at traditional networking, it's all about what's in it for me. And that is not putting others, not before yourself, but making them equal to yourself. And love is letting others voluntarily evolve, helping everyone to get to the next level. And making it your responsibility to make the room better because you're there. Or when you leave, the room's better because of you. In our relationship, it used to be 1 + 1 equaled like 1.25. In our relationship now, 1 + 1 = 3. because we know we're better together. And that means I celebrate what she wants and she celebrates what I want. I don't try to convince her to not want what she wants. And I don't try to get her to change her perspective, beliefs, anything for my benefit. I try to get more of that out of her so she can live the fullest expression of the life that she wants to live, not the one that I want her to live. This is the face of love. Look at the smile on that woman's face. Look at the smile on her face. Because when you lift each other up, and I'm not just talking about in your marriage, look at our parenting styles. We try to get our kids to be who we want them to be. Like, no, you don't understand. You're a Kitko. You're a Democrat. You're a Republican. You're a Kitko. You root for the Orioles and the Ravens. We're from Baltimore, by the way. You're a Kitko. This is what we stand for. That's abusive, guys. You're trying to get them to be you. You're not trying to help them figure out who they are. Because all you're doing by trying to get them to be who you want them to be is you're breaking them and you're making them feel more shame. That's it. And then they're going to have to heal that stuff. It's all about loving uniqueness. 7.88 billion completely unique people. Are you leaving people better than you found them? Or are you trying to get them to be who you want so you can feel comfortable? Relationship with your career. This is where, I don't know if we're going to spend the most time, but in this room, this is where it's going to be most applicable, guys. The word that I want you to connect with is passion. Passion. I remember at one MML event, I don't have a tissue, but at one MML event, I was standing right back there by that doorway where my friend Keith is. And I started asking a guy, what do you do? And he started answering me. And this is a pretty common dialogue in my conversations with people. What do you do? I do X, Y, Z. Do you love it? Yeah, I love helping people. No, I didn't ask you that. Do you love what you do? Pays the bills. That's absence of passion. Like, do you get? I was up at 4:10 this morning. I get to do this. I don't have to. This is a privilege. This is an honor. This is something that I get excited for. Everything I do in my business, I would do for free, but I don't. But I would. Like, does your career excite you to get out of bed? Does it excite you to go where you're going to go? Does it excite you to work for who you're going to work for? Do you get excited what time you wake up? Do you get to do your career or engage in your career, or do you have to? Because if you have to, you lack passion. There's 3 phases of the professional journey. The first phase is survival. I'm just trying to pay the bills. That's it. I'm just trying to pay the bills. I'll take any job. I'll work at DQ. I'll work at wherever. Just trying to pay the bills. And there's some people who are sitting in this room that are making 6-7 figures that are still in survival mode. Guarantee you. I guarantee you, because I see it every day. I was on the phone with a guy that is, his business is making about his business making about 25 million, and he's still in survival mode. He still feels like every day is a battle. And it's not. Survival mode's not about an amount of money, it's about a mindset. The second is success. And this is where, you have, this is the story of my life, where you have the money and you have the title and you have the accolades and the achievement, but you don't love what you do. And it doesn't light you up. And that's why you feel empty inside, because you're successful, but you're not where you want to be. You'd rather not do what you have to do. You just do it out of obligation. But the last is beautiful, because that's when you're doing what you love and only what you love, and it impacts the world, and you know you matter, and you know you make a difference, and you know people are better because of you, and they pay you a lot of money. And it's an awesome place to be. And guys, that's the only place that passion can be found. I worked for Fortune 500 companies. I was an executive leader in Stanley Black & Decker, and if you know those guys, and I managed a $65 million plant in Portland, Oregon. I managed a $350 million energy plant across the river, and I hated every second of it. But I tell you what, I get to do this. I don't have to do it. This is a joy, and people pay me for it. What an amazing life. It takes courage to go from survival to success, and it takes another leap in courage to go from success to service. Question is, are you courageous enough to move into that service block? If you're not, that's shame. Oh, and there's some books too. People pay for passion. They pay for passion. They'll throw money at you when you're passionate about what you do. We've all seen it. We've all experienced it. The thing is, in my corporate career, I was passionate about 1% of what I did, and the other 99% I could take or leave. And now I just decided not to do the other 99%. And people pay you for it. People pay for passion. Guys, the fourth we're going to go over is your relationship with money. This is probably the most sensitive topic. This is the one that we probably struggle with the most. I know in my experience, in my coaching business, and as I teach people, this is the one that keeps coming up the most. Our relationship with money is, it's really, if there's anything that's fundamentally flawed, it is our relationship with money. The word that I want to connect you with is value. It's value, right? Now, this might trigger some of you, but if you take a look at your bank account, if you take a look at your net worth, if you take a look at what you have, it's a reflection of the value that you've created in the lives of other people. Okay, let me say that again. Look at your bank account, look at your net worth. It's a reflection, it's a direct reflection of the value that you've created for other people in your life. It's how much you've improved the lives of others. There's people that are working in jobs that are commodities that are wondering why they're making minimum wage. Because it's a commodity job. You're not creating value in the lives of others above and beyond a commodity level. And the more you help people, all business is solving problems for other people. That's all it is. And the bigger problem you solve for people, the more money you get, the more value you create. And what I've learned is I don't have to hide behind somebody else's logo to solve problems for people. I can solve them with my own name at the forefront. And when I send an invoice, it says Mike Kitko LLC or Kitko Professional Development. I don't need somebody else to solve problems for other people. And they send the check directly to me, and it all gets funneled into my bank account. And the more problems I help other people solve, and the bigger problems I help them solve, the more value I create in my bank account for my family, for my net worth. I was on the phone with a client one time, and on Monday we had a conversation about coaching people, and on Friday she signed a $35,000 client. Do you think that 1 hour I spent with her was pretty valuable? She did. I've got a client in India that we worked together for a few months, and he landed a $400,000 account, and his bank account hadn't been above $100,000 for 10 years. And working with me for a couple months, he signed a $400,000 because he was living in shame. And we worked through that, and he started offering his services, and he signed a $400,000 client. Do you think that is a valuable coaching relationship that I have with him? Yeah, he does too. Solve bigger problems, and people give you more money. But you don't need to do stuff that you hate in order to do it. You just get to figure out what's that problem that you solve better than anybody else, and you have it. And if you feel like you don't, it's shame talking, because we all have it. We all have that thing that we do at a world-class level. The question is, are you allowing yourself to do it? And if not, guys, it's fear, it's doubt, it's worry, it's shame. We have this relationship with money where we feel that money is like life support system. Like How many of you, I just saw some head shake. How many of you really feel that money is your life? That money is the means to survive? Because if you pay attention, the water we need to survive falls out of the sky. The food that we need to survive grows out of the ground. The air that you need to survive is all around you. But for some reason, we feel that money is our life support. And it's not. One more story about money. Two more. One is I work with a guy, again, another 8-figure net worth guy that feels like since he doesn't have income, he's about to die and expire because he has a really, I was going to use a word I shouldn't, Jason. He has a really, really disconnected relationship with money. He doesn't understand that money is not life. But even with our high net worth, this is the second story, even with our high net worth, when I got fired, I felt like my life was about to be over. And then as I dipped into my savings, I felt like I was an absolute failure. And money is not life. It's just the exchange of value. That's it. The question is, are you exchanging enough value to create what you need when you need to create it? But it's not your life support system. Money is not life or death. It's just the exchange of value, right? Money and wealth is all about mindset. If whatever your net worth is, if you feel like you're broke, you'll never understand how to feel wealthy. And the last relationship, guys, and this is where we're going to get a little spiritual. We're going to get a little woo-woo, all right? I'm a pretty spiritual guy. I grew up in a religious household, and I'm no longer religious, but I've got a really, really strong connection to spirituality and to my Creator. The word that I want to throw out is trust. Me and Keith Vollmer have had a lot of conversations about trust. Because trust is everything in feeling fulfilled in this lifetime. And the question is, do you trust life? Do you trust life, that life is supportive? Do you feel that life is there to help you, or do you feel that life is hand-to-hand combat? Do you feel that your survival is in jeopardy all the time, or do you feel that life is so supportive that you can't fail, regardless what the outcome is? And here's why I say this, guys, is because I grew up in a home with brothers where physical violence was just regular part of doing business. My brothers were just washing dishes, and all of a sudden the two of them are like fist fighting and on the ground. That was just a regular occurrence in my house. So I grew up feeling that life was dangerous, and there was conflict and violence everywhere. And from that upbringing and being molested and being bullied and being abandoned and being just completely disregarded as a child, violated as a child, I felt that no matter where I went, I was just going to fail and somebody was going to hit me and hurt me. And that's why I put on this strong external persona, because I was scared, because I didn't trust life. I didn't trust that life would help me when I needed help. I didn't trust that I would have what I need when I needed it. I had a really, really screwed up relationship with life. And there's a metaphor that I want you to connect with and think about. If you're on a lazy river, do you feel like you can just stop swimming and get to where you're going? Or do you feel like you're always swimming upstream because you don't trust the flow and where it's taking you? Because I've built my business through learning to trust life, that when I want that next client or when I need that next client, they're coming. I don't have to force it. I don't have to make it happen. I don't have to struggle and stress to get what I want. Life wants for me what I want for myself. But when I believed that wasn't true, it wasn't, because we are a product of our beliefs. And if you trust that life doesn't want what you want, you're going to see that everywhere, and you're going to feel like life's a hand-to-hand combat. Beautiful tree. This tree just sits there. It doesn't force growth. Growth happens. It doesn't force rain. Rain happens. It doesn't force the nutrients in the ground. The nutrients are just there. Of course, there's storms, right? Rain comes and goes. Obstacles, challenges, they show up. But in the end, rain's going to fall, nutrients are going to be there, and the sun's going to come out and shine, and the tree just keeps growing. If you take a look at your life, and I challenge you, if you take a look at your life, when you've needed, you've gotten. And sometimes not getting what you want is the greatest blessing ever, because when I got fired, Tom and I have talked about this a lot. When I got fired that second time, guess what I wanted? I just wanted another job. I prayed and I struggled and I did everything I could and I sent so many resumes out. I just wanted another job, and I'm like, God, why are you forsaking me? What is going on? Why are you abandoning me? Because meanwhile, God, universe, life, whatever you call it, he's like, no, boy, I got better shit for you coming. I got you. Question is, do you trust life? Because if you don't, life's a lot harder than it needs to be for you. A whole lot harder. And I know that from firsthand experience. Relationship with self, if you don't get this one right, nothing else is going to be right. Relationship with others, letting others voluntarily evolve. Make it your plan of the day. Your relationship with your career. Do you love what you do? If not, you only have 80 years to live. You're wasting seconds. You're wasting time. Your relationship with money. Is it your life, or is it just an exchange of value? And finally, your relationship with life. If you don't trust life, then you are battling the thing that loves you dearly, all right? Again, I don't care if you call it God, universe, life. That doesn't matter to me. I don't care what your God looks like. The question is, do you trust? Almost on time, Tom. So, guys, I'm getting ready to turn it over for Q&A. I just want to tell you about a couple things, okay? There are people in this room that are in this mastermind. I've got a mastermind community of successful business owners, some struggling business owners that are looking to create wealth, success, and happiness, right? Not one or the other, but all three of them. And we congregate. It's an awesome, loving, powerful community. If you have any interest, my email address is mike@mikekitko.com, and that's K's, right? No C's in there. But mike@mikekitko.com. If you have any interest in being part of a community of business owners that are all looking for what I just talked about, just reach out. Love to have that conversation with you. I do have a really cool podcast that I launched. We're 6 episodes in. It just launched on August 6th, and it's on the major platforms. We hit number 62 in the US last week on Apple Podcasts in the entrepreneur space, and we just launched. This thing is, I'm very, very proud of it, all right? Couple great interviews with some awesome business leaders, business owners, but a lot of powerful message. More of this into your life on a regular basis. And finally, guys, if you just go to livesoulout.com/breakthrough-MML, I've got a free guide about the 3 biggest blocks that I see in people that keep them from feeling wealth, successful, and happy. And those 3 blocks are the shame barrier, the confusion barrier, and the cowardice barrier. And with that link and on my website, you get that guide for free. And I send you a couple emails, but it starts to help you resolve that internal conflict and the conflicts that's keeping you from truly experiencing all the joy and the peace and love that life has to offer. If you're settling or sacrificing in any area of your life, you don't need to. You're doing it by choice. All right? That's what I have, guys. And I'll open it up for questions. Just fire away. Let me collect myself. When you love what you do, you'll never work again, ever. Tom Gotti, my man.
All right, so, I own a business now, but I didn't before. So I'm asking the questions for people who don't own their own business, who don't necessarily have that, I guess, ability to create the wealth other than to work for somebody else. Right? So when you look at the concept of how you talk through all of this and making a difference in other people's lives, which then affects, eventually your income, right? Because you're giving back, you're helping, and you're succeeding for yourself, but you're helping other people. How do you talk to those people about getting the best out of themselves?
Awesome. Great question. So I've got a client, I'm going to answer this in an indirect way and then a direct way, okay, Tom? So I've got a client that has a real estate investment company, and he has, it's an empire really, right? And it has 5 separate businesses inside of this empire that he's created. And when you walk into the room and you look up on his wall at his values and his mission statement, it is him. It's not the business. His values, the values that are on the wall, and the mission statement that he has up on the wall, they are a direct reflection of him. And he's built from the inside out. Who am I? What do I love? Let me build something that reflects me in this world, that solves the problem that I want to solve. So that was the indirect way of answering it. But the direct way is, what are your values? What do you stand for? And what problem do you love to solve that you would do it for free? That you wake up and you get excited about? What is that problem? And there's 7.88 billion people, guys, on the face of the planet. There are a few people in the world that have that problem. Okay? Every problem that you want to solve, that it would be a privilege and an honor that you get excited to solve, there are millions of people that have that problem. And what you need to do, my guy Eric here, today he walked up and told somebody what he does, and he just shamelessly told him exactly what he does and who he helps. And they said, hey, I got a group that would love to have you talk to them. And that's where you start to build a business, Tom, right? When I first started my coaching business, I was working with a lot of executives, and I built a 6-figure business like this, just saying, I help executive leaders feel as powerful inside as they appear on the outside. Tom probably remembers those days. That was all my marketing. I didn't have a website, and business cards. I help executive leaders feel as powerful on the inside as they appear on the outside. And people would go, will you help me? Sure. 6 figures. Within months, just by telling people the problem that I solved, that I wanted to solve, and then it started growing from there. But start small. That's all the marketing you need. What are your values and what problem do you want to solve? And you can build a powerful business just out of that. And then 20 years later, you have 5 businesses, a mission statement, and you have 100 employees. Great question, Tom. Thank you. Tom always comes through when nobody else. Guys, I'll tell you anything. Yeah, Barry.
In a moment of despair, what was your thought that turned your life?
Wow, I couldn't even kill myself. I failed at that too. The moment was, again, barrel in my mouth, thinking, I don't have anything figured out. Everything up 43 years old and everything up to this point, I've gotten wrong. This can't be what it's all about. And I literally got up, and it was almost like, I'm going to draw you a metaphor. It was like having a whiteboard full of what I thought life was, and it was like walking and just erasing the whole whiteboard and saying, it's got to start over, right? Everything I was taught about who God was, everything I thought that I was taught about health and about marriage and about parenting and about career, it was all garbage, and I got to rebuild from the beginning, because I don't have anything figured out. All right. So I think the most liberating day of my life was when I realized that I knew nothing. It was beautiful. And I don't think I've ever lost that, Barry. So there's none of us have it figured out. None of us. So what you know now is probably obsolete in 10 years. So just realize that right now, whatever you think you know, you don't. And just become a student every single day. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Did I help? Awesome. What's your name?
Mark.
Mark.
What was the catalyst for you to move to what you're doing?
No other options. I didn't get what I wanted, I get what I needed. And I mean, seriously, my wife saw, when I told her I was gonna start a business, and I went on 10 interviews, I was the runner-up like 5 times. I was really qualified for those jobs, but I had just gotten fired twice for doing the same job, right? I thought, I'm qualified, and literally, there were my resume was Swiss cheese. I had no other options. I thought, well, at this point, what would a failure do? Let's start a business. And I told my wife, and she's like, no, you're not. You're gonna get a job. We need benefits. We're good. We're good. It just takes a leap of faith and some courage.
As a follow-up, could I hear her perspective?
Thank you for that, because you know what? She likes the spotlight more than I do. Get up here. Get up here.
Gosh, what was the question again?
The catalyst, the transition, I'm interested in, I'm a factory manager to, I'm now going to do something else. What was your perspective on that?
I thought he was crazy. Yeah, like he said, I freaked out and I said, no, we need to go get a job, we need 2 weeks vacation, benefits, 401k, insurance, and all of those things. But then I was in my own space right then of kind of trying to figure myself back out. I was trying to recover from many years of pharmaceutical addiction, so there was that. And then I was able to see his passion and watching him see how much he lit up when he was working with clients. And I had faith, I trust, that was it.
She was scared to death, Mark. She really undersold that. She was scared to death. When I told her I was going to start a business, she's like, no, and she fought me for a long time. So I put this in, I've got a book on Amazon. It's called The Imposter in Charge, right? I wrote it, I think we released it in October of 2018. So it's a couple years old. But in there, I did disclose that I filed for divorce. Because when I started this journey, like I had served, I felt like up for 43 years, all I did was try to serve everybody else's needs. And I put everybody else first. And I thought my job was to make her comfortable and my job was to make my kids comfortable. And really what it was is at that point, my job, up to that point, I realized now, my job was trying to take away her fears. And there's nothing you can do to take away somebody else's fears. Those are hers, right? She still struggles every once in a while because again, it's, growing up in abject poverty and not having a home of your own and 2 pharmaceutical addicted parents with televisions walking in, stealing toilet paper and stealing candy bars to eat. This is what she grew up in, but I can't own those fears for her. All I can do is live soul out and live my path. And whether she comes along or not, that's her choice. So the point was, I started physical, mental, emotional healing, spiritual healing, social healing. Financial wasn't there yet, right? The income wasn't there. Our net worth was. And when she fought me and started to try to tear me down and get me back into the old life, I just filed for divorce. And I think that was the shot across the bow that she needed to either come with me or we were going to be done. But I'm going to go where I'm going to go regardless. And even to this day, right? The point is a partnership, a relationship, a marriage isn't about I sacrifice you. I was taught it was. I sacrifice the life that I want to live. You sacrifice the life that you want to live, and let's both be miserable together, right? So that is called codependency. And it'll eat you from the inside out. Today, I get to design the life that I want to live. She gets to design the life that she wants to live, and we put them together and see if we're still a fit. And every day, it's a recommitment to, yeah, this is awesome. Because, I don't know how, can you hold this for me real quick?
Sure.
All right. So, there's love, and there's love. I need you, you can't go anywhere because I'll be miserable without you. And I love you so much, you can go whenever you want. We think this is love, but that's not. That's codependency. It's, I won't be okay if you leave. This is, I love you so much, I want for you whatever you want for you. And this is how life treats us, guys. This is how life loves us. This is how God loves you. Look, you can run into walls if you want. I'm not going to stop you. But understand that you're just creating your own choices, and you can do whatever you want. But I'm always here. I'm right here for you whenever you want me, right? That's what God tells us. I'm right here. I'm not far away. You can ignore me, but I'm not going away. Right? That's how our marriage has evolved. I don't need you. I want you though. Yes.
Where does gratitude fit into that?
Every second of every day.
But it's not on your chart. It's not part of what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's part of happiness, right? It's appreciating every second. The definition of happiness that I threw out was appreciating every second of every day and not needing anything to be different, right? So it's all about gratitude. Yeah, I didn't say it, but can I pull something? Yeah, we're running a little over time. I choose to feel grateful. I choose to feel successful. I choose to feel wealthy. I choose to feel love. I choose to feel joy. I choose to feel happiness, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. Not even if you don't believe what I believe when it comes to COVID or masks or anything like that. I just choose to feel gratitude and joy regardless. So gratitude's really not a practice, it's a state of being. You're either grateful or you're not. So where does it fit in? If you're not grateful, then you're missing out on the joy of life. Thank you for the questions, guys. Thank you so much.